Hello, everybody, even though nobody's in here. Hi, Courtney. I have like an hour, so I thought I'd spend it in here. So, not sure if anybody's listening, but my kids and I got pretty excited today because there's a cat cafe that's going to be opening up in Minneapolis. And we love cats, so hi, Isaac. So it's like a lounge where you can have coffee and tea and pastries and stuff like that. And then there's a separate room, but it's connected, and it's like a bunch of cats that you can play with. So pretty cool. Lots of messages. So sorry, I'm not looking in the chat right now. Well, no one's talking anyway, so. But I can't really say anything because I'm not talking either. Trying to get it to where I can see the chat and my other windows at the same time. So I'm just doing some shrinking. Oh my goodness. Every time I shrink it, it like shrinks too much and then disappears. Oh my gosh. It won't stop. I feel like crying. Ah, there. Finally. Yay. Yay. Da, 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 da. I got it to shrink. There. All right. But no one is talking. So, how about that? You can see my bubble strap. All right. Is anybody talking? Or is it just my computer being slow? All right. Hi, Courtney. I know I'm not saying anything that's like really substantial, but I just like to know that my computer's not glitching. Let's see what there we go. Let's see what everybody's saying. How do you go about getting a used cell phone? Pardon my. Oh, okay, that's in the group. Never mind. It stinks that the only time I can really live stream is so early when like most people are not awake in my part of the world anyway. Weekend again. I keep forgetting it's Friday. We're probably just gonna go back to where we had the field trip and do some hiking because that was really nice, and I didn't know that it was that scenic out there. Like I didn't know. I knew that like they had designated events and stuff, but I didn't know that it was like kid friendly and stuff. So we're probably gonna do that. Do you have any events? I'm gonna play some music, I think. I'm gonna play the song that makes, well, so every song makes me think of Katelyn, really. I posted it on my Facebook earlier. I said that when you love someone, you find a piece of them in every song, because I think that holds true. And in this case, it's Katelyn. For those of you who don't know who I'm talking about Katelyn Nicole Davis. She is a very special person who is no longer with us, but should be. Hi, new person. Can you say something, please? Otherwise, it feels weird. Like, hi, badass prince of hell. What a name. You're going to a fall festival? Sorry, I just saw that. We have fall festival too. That's what we're gonna do. I forgot. I knew there was something, but I needed to look at my calendar because I have to put everything on my Google Calendar, or I don't remember. So, yeah. Is it raining again? It is. And it's foggy too. It's a foggy rain. So, I don't know what to talk about today. I just don't like to be the one to lead conversations. Well, I say that. I like someone to initiate a topic, and then I eventually end up leading without trying, but I don't like initiating the topic. So, well, I might come back later. Did you see the moon last night? No, I didn't. Do you have pictures? Was it a full moon last night? Full moon. What color was it? Was it when it's like bright yellow, or was it really bright white? White? I think that's my favorite when it's bright white. Just in time for Halloween. Well, a little early, but. Sorry if I look grumpy. I'm not grumpy, so I don't know what to say. So, I'm gonna see who's in my audience. It just shows Isaac and Courtney, and then there's someone else. I'm pretty sure it's Tim. He never says anything and just likes to keep an eye. So, I just don't like when people linger and like watch but don't say anything because like I understand if it's somebody you don't know and you're just trying to get to know them and so it feels weird talking to them, but if you know them and you're just like not saying a word, to me that's like a form of spying and it kind of freaks me out. So that is all. So if you don't know me, I understand if you're not talking, but if you know me and you don't say hi or anything, I feel kind of like there's a reason that you're not saying hi. Favorite kind of coffee? Okay, so I go through phases. I always drink my coffee just plain black because I like to feel the effect of coffee. So like I try to stay away from the ones with like all these fake flavors in them. So even though I prefer the taste of like French vanilla and stuff, I stick with just the medium roast because the dark roast has the least amount of caffeine, the light roast has the most amount of caffeine, and so I usually get medium, and right now I'm doing the Dunkin' Donuts, just a regular breakfast blend. But then I'll go through phases where I do the Folgers. But Folgers has more caffeine, and it. Eh, um, I was thinking if I should use light today, and it makes me too like I'm like this. Hi, Doug. Doug Bergman is one of my BFFs. I've known him for a long time. White chocolate peppermint cocoa. Oh my lord. That sounds heavenly. But see, the thing is when I have things like that, then I'm gonna want more and more and more sweets. Like, even though that's not actually a sweet, it's gonna make me want more and more sweets. And I will binge. Just downloaded the app. Aww. Did you download the app to talk in here specifically? Because that's cool if you did. Yep. Aw, that's so cool. Yep. I feel honored. I like guys. How about you? You like guys? I like everybody except for mean people, and I will forgive them, but not if they keep on. But I guess mean is subjective, so I'll just chalk it down to harmful. I don't like harmful people for obvious reasons. But I guess harmful could also be subjective when you think about it, because some things that I think are harmful, other people don't think are harmful, and then vice versa. Oh, Doug, you're my #1 fan. I don't know what that entails, but oh, you gave me lots of likes. Thank you. I'm really gay. That's really cool. I mean, that you know your like identity, that you have a sense of identity. Because I feel like a lot of people, even when they are in their adulthood, they still don't know their sexuality, and it causes them a lot of resentment and bitterness. Like the mayor in Mississippi, his name was Greg Davis. He got married to a woman and had a lot of daughters, but he was really gay, and he like devastated his whole family because he was sneaking into Canada and doing gay things with gay men, and he was found in gay sex shops with his gay partners, and kind of devastated the whole family, you know. So I think it's really good that you have a sense of identity. Why the sad face? Because you said that. Yeah, why did you say that with a, like, I don't think that's the sad face. That's the face that's kind of like awkward, like, hi, Hawkeye74. Because it's not just gay. I'm really gay. Oh, well, that is good, though. Like, I think that's good. Define really gay. When I think really gay, I think of somebody, yeah, that is kind of hard. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, in the sexual sense, or like, what do you mean? Sweater over shoulders? I don't think that's gay. That's just a style, Doug. I want to play some music. I like when men try to please me. I miss Katelyn. Hi, I miss Katelyn. I love your screen name because it automatically shows that you know who Katelyn is and you miss her. Red looks good on you. Thank you. So you said you like when men try to please you. So how does that make you really gay? That just makes you gay, right? Unless you go around like demanding that every man you pass please you. Good morning and thank you. Good morning to you too. Is it like 9 a.m. morning where you are, or is it earlier, or is it later? Basically, I demand it emotionally and I'll react if they don't. Well, I would say that's more that you demand it emotionally. Like from your partner, your male partner, or from like every male you're attracted to. Because I think if you demand it emotionally from your partner, that's just more of a marital problem. But if you demand it from everyone else, that's like nympho type behavior. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't know you, so I shouldn't like diagnose you, but I think you have a lot of self-awareness. That's good though. I mean, most people probably couldn't care less, or they wouldn't even be aware they were like that in the first place. So, as long as you're not violating people, then I mean, there's nothing wrong with fantasizing about people. 10:10. Okay, so I miss Katelyn. That means you are an hour ahead of me. It's 9 here. And I already had my oatmeal pancakes. Basically, not that anybody asked, but I blend oatmeal with a banana and cinnamon, and actually I did it with pumpkin puree though today. And oatmeal, cinnamon, a little bit of Himalayan pink sea salt stuff, or it's just Himalayan pink salt, pink Himalayan salt, and then I bake it, and it's really good. Yeah. If I'm talking about food, then that probably means I don't know what to talk about. That breakfast sounds gay, no offense. I think you like the word gay. You have gay on the brain. Downloaded this app just to, oh, do I know you? Do you come to my videos? Do you talk about Katelyn in the comments on YouTube? Are you part of the groups for Katelyn? Forgive me if you've already told me before. It sounds fruity. Oh, okay. Well, it is fruity because there's a banana in there. I don't have a Facebook, but I comment some on YouTube. Oh. Yeah. My username is my Instagram. Oh, okay. I don't know if I've seen it though. I don't think I have. I've only been on Instagram like one time and it was by accident, and like it's hard enough for me to keep up with the social media that I already have. So Instagram just adds to that. Do you do ASMR? No, I don't. I think my voice is too naggy. Like, you have to have a very calming voice for ASMR. Like, it would bother, like, it would get on my nerves to hear myself talking like that, just knowing that it's not sincere, like, that I'm putting on. But, like, my friend Anna, she's actually one of my best friends, and her natural speaking voice, like, I could never see her getting mad or, like, sounding mad because her natural speaking voice is like that. Like, I think if someone tried to kill her, she would just be like, please don't, like, don't kill me, put the gun down. And I wish I spoke like that, but I didn't. Hi, Dawn Shameless Squad. Hi, Docs Clips. I left you a message after your video about your dad on YouTube. I'm Robert. Oh, was it a YouTube message? Because I seldom check those. Oh, okay, Docs, I will. No videos, though, just a consumer. Oh, okay. And that's fine. I think I do videos like once every 2 weeks. If even that. I don't even think that often. Usually if I do it, it's because I just feel like I have to. Like, it's like I can't not. Does that make sense? Hi, Owl Buster. What a name. Is your last name Buster? Makes me think of Buster Bunny from the, was it Muppet Babies? Or no, Buster Bunny. Yeah, because that was like the little version of Bugs Bunny. Check out my Instagram. I visited. I did see yours actually, like months ago. That's you? Well, I feel honored to be talking to you then, because you gave us like more insight than most people. And wow, okay, very nice to meet you. You're a okay, Chris. You are random. I went back in June. Was it the same as your first visit? I don't know how. Gosh, I don't. I really. I was about to think of what it would be like there, but I don't want to think about that. I wanted to share with those who physically can't be there. Thank you. Yeah, you remind me of the photographers who go around the country and they take pictures of random gravestones for people who aren't able or weren't able to ever visit the gravestone. And I did that with my grandmother, whom I didn't meet, and I did that with my grandfather, whom I saw just a little bit before his passing. And there's something special about, I don't know what it is, but like there is something special about seeing their name on the gravestone, on that plot of grass or whatever. Like, so thank you for that. Far drive? How far? You said the word random twice in 30 seconds. Oh, did I? No one has ever touched my heart like Katelyn. Yeah. I I I don't typically believe things happening for a reason. Not like in a supernatural sense, but when it comes to Katelyn, um, I feel like I feel like she was the person in that situation that we all saw for a reason. Does that make sense? Who's Kate? Katelyn Nicole Davis? Okay, so her name is spelled the way you did, but with an Lyn at the end. You should Google her, and you will see who she is. She was a very, very smart 12-year-old who was very like loving and and she just wanted to help everybody, but she was a victim to a really bad neglectful home life, and it was just beyond neglect though. There were people, there was a lot going on in her life, people who were tormenting her and people who weren't helping her when she needed it the most, and she was reaching out to people online, and she was live streaming her home life and just herself, and she loved to sing and she liked to write her own music, and then she was prescribed Prozac, and a couple of weeks, I don't know exactly how long subsequent to the Prozac, prescription. But I know that after that point, things started going downhill, and she killed herself, and she was 12. She enlarged your heart. Good. I think that is the effect that she's had on everyone. I know that, hold on, there was an email, well, I don't know if there was an email I got from someone named, I don't even remember the name, but it was about the patterns they saw in Katelyn after she took the Prozac, and they like tracked the exact times and what was going on that they were like observing in her, and it was so spot on, and I never actually caught all these little details, and I want to share the email, but first I asked the person if I could share it, and I haven't gotten a response yet, so I'm not going to share it until they respond. I deal with suicidal ideation, so that makes me sad. Do you, Chris? Well, we are going to die anyway one day, so don't give yourself a head start. There's no point. I mean, I posted this earlier, but it is better to feel pain than nothing at all. And I know that while you're going through pain, like it's... Did you hear that? Someone just rang my doorbell. So, we'll turn it that way because I don't want y'all to see my skirt. Alright, that was just the UPS person. To be right outside her home and see that bedroom window from where she looked out upon her world, hoping for a better life, was gut-wrenching. Yes, I bet. I bet. Oh my gosh. Because just looking at the photos of it online of just the trailer, not even her bedroom window, to me that would be like when people go to Auschwitz and they see where people were hiding, or not in hiding, where they see where people were camped up. To me, that would be no different. Hi, Skeleton Goth. How are you? Hello, Skeleton Goth. How are you? I'm gonna sing a song for you. A fun song, a silly song. I miss Katelyn, right? Yeah. Sorry, that's just I always sing like this certain song to my kids, but I'm not gonna sing the whole thing. Why did she make the news out of everyone else? Oh, many reasons. I would say the first one was that she live streamed. She was one of the first people to live stream her suicide. Secondly, Katelyn herself. And I don't care if that sounds like I'm taking the special factor out of everybody else who's committed suicide. That's not at all what I'm doing. But first of all, she was only 12. She wasn't even a teen yet. She made countless videos leading up, preceding her suicide, of live streams. They weren't like, there wasn't any room there wasn't any guessing as to whether or not she was being neglected. It was all there for everyone to see. And she was live streaming how she was living, like the filth that she was living in. And she was showcasing the things that were going on in her home that if anybody thinks are appropriate, they need to go get help. And again, this may sound shallow, but it's the truth. I mean, we are drawn to symmetry and appeal, and this girl was absolutely beautiful. She had what I call cosmic eyes, where her eyes were so big and blue, every shade of blue you could imagine in her eyes, like the sky and the ocean and all the swirls that you see, like I said, in the cosmos. And they were the kind of eyes that when they look in your direction, you're frozen. And she just had so much personality. I mean, so it's not so much that well, yeah, her suicide was also unique because, like I said, she live streamed it. She was 12. Most of us as adults, thank you, Skeleton Goth. Most of us as adults cannot even, like, we'll have just that suicidal ideation, or we'll put a gun to our head because that's instant. But she actually hung herself. She hung herself. She put herself through pain before even killing herself. I mean, there are so many elements to her suicide and her that make it, in my opinion, more captivating, which is good in terms of suicide awareness. Basically, she was attractive. Well, yeah. Katelyn was 1 in a billion. But to me, hold on, I'll read your comment in just a second. I just want to touch on that she was attractive part. People always assume that if you're so pretty, that why she'll get over it or he'll get over it. Like, why are they so depressed? I mean, look at me, and I'm not depressed. But I think she's a perfect example of how it doesn't matter how you look. It doesn't matter how rich you are. And I know she wasn't rich, but there are many rich people who kill themselves. It doesn't matter what kind of home life you have, even if it's great or bad. None of that really matters. What matters is if you're getting enough attention or love or care from who's supposed to give it to you when you're especially her age. Not being prescribed things that have a suicidal side effect in certain people, especially at 12. I don't care what anybody says. So I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to your comment. In a very cold and selfish world, she was selfless and loving. That is why she stands out. Yes, selfless, big time selfless. So selfless that she was raising pretty much, from what it appeared like and what other relatives said, her younger siblings at 12 years old. And I know a lot of like siblings will say, oh, I pretty much raised my sibling when they just watched their brother maybe for like an hour a day. No, I mean, from what we saw on video, so this isn't me just saying it, this is what we witnessed on video. She was watching her siblings for hours and hours and hours. She was so selfless that even despite all that, she never had a bitterness toward her siblings. Like, she was so patient with them. Even when they were screaming, yelling, and whining, she'd go to them and be like, oh, what is it? Oh, I just love you. Like, I've just never seen somebody like that. Like, even mothers, like, I sometimes get really stressed with my own children sometimes. Like, I don't get mean to them, but I will be like, oh my gosh, like, can I please just take a bite of my sandwich? Or, like, she never even had that sort of attitude. And, like, there was a can of soup, and she hadn't eaten, according to her, she hadn't eaten the entire day. And she gave the can of soup to her siblings instead of herself. And she wasn't saying all that for show. It was never for show. Why didn't she go into foster care? That's a very good question. That's something I was actually, because I meet with, I've talked about this before, but my son has some anxiety stuff, and he has a social worker and a therapist, and they're very good to us, and I meet with them a lot. And I asked her last week, I started crying, and I was telling her all about Katelyn, and I asked her why. I said, did they not get the same services in Georgia that they do here? And from the sound of it, it doesn't sound like they are funded as much as my state is in terms of helping children who need it. So that could very well be why she wasn't taken into foster care. No, is this a movie? Docs just asked if this is a movie. I think, honestly, I don't like when Hollywood capitalizes off of sad things, but I do feel like this should be a movie, unlike that 13 Reasons Why, because Katelyn needs to be seen and heard. That's why. Simply put. Sorry, I'm going through the comments. It sounds like she was being overdramatic just because she went through pain. That doesn't make it more special. That's just disturbing. Overdramatic. She had a stepdad who was telling her that she was worthless and that she needed to hang herself. I hardly think that's being overdramatic. He told her he would buy the rope for her. And so she live streamed it. It was for show. Okay. It was she was reaching out. How can you say it was for show? She ended her life. She took her life. How can you say that was for show? She took her life. She's not here anymore. How is that fake? Are you sick? I will ban you from my chat if you talk about Katelyn like that. I love how she said children come first. I agree. I'm gonna ban you, Chris, okay? Because I don't know how you could say that when she took her life. Like, something is wrong with you. I'm sorry. Like, you can't. Block. Goodbye. Working in a hospital. We have a psychiatric unit. In the ED, we have a hold for those patients when there's no rooms available. The majority of patients under 17. Yeah, I was 19 and they did that to me. They had me vomiting up charcoal for like an hour. Mostly 12 to 13-year-olds. 12. I can't get over that. I would have loved to have had her for a daughter. It would have been an honor. Some people just don't have the mental capacity to understand situations they don't undergo. Right, but he just, like, 5 minutes before that said that he has suicidal ideation. So if he has suicidal ideation, how's he then going to proceed to pretty much insult her? I mean, and I'm so sick. This is why the first video I ever made on YouTube about Katelyn, and it was as soon as I got done watching her videos, was me saying that if you see someone online saying that they feel suicidal or they're depressed or they're going to kill themselves, do not call them an attention whore. Do not at all allude to them just wanting attention because, first of all, hello, Captain Obvious, duh. Of course the person wants attention. Sorry, this is anxiety. That's why my chest is getting red. Of course the person wants attention. Duh. That's why they're reaching out. We are social creatures. There should be a thing called attention shaming, okay? Because that's essentially what it is. To shame someone. If you see someone wants your attention and they need your support and help, and you're in a position to help them, and instead of helping them, you choose to just be Captain Obvious and say that they just want attention, that shows what kind of person you are. It doesn't make you look smart. It doesn't take a talent to be mean. It doesn't take a talent to be mean. We had a huge influx. He seemed like someone who was only concerned with his own issues. Don't let him get you upset. Well, it's just, I mean, he said it was just for show. Like, how can you say that about someone who's not here anymore? Like, it's one thing if someone says, like, oh, I'm going to jump off a building, and then they, like, laugh, and they're like, just kidding, and they trick everybody. Okay, then you can say that's for show. But for somebody who was crying on videos countless times, like, she would cry and say, I can't do this anymore. That is suffering. She was 12. Don't go to internet. Go to your family to talk. I'm glad you said that. Let me expound on that. Go to your, let's underline the word family here, okay? Not everyone has family. You can live with family, but family is not just a noun. I see family as also an action, okay? If your family is not being a family to you, then the internet is all you have. The internet has actually saved me in the past from really bad situations, from reaching out to friends. Otherwise, who knows what would have happened. So you know, not everybody has family to talk to. Katelyn needed somebody there in that moment. Katelyn needed somebody who cared. And she had perverts asking her to show them her feet when she was telling people she was going to kill herself. Hi, Mr. Hurtful. Thank you. Katelyn is such a beautiful soul. She is. I like when people say is in the present tense for Katelyn. I tend to say was, and then I don't like saying that, but this is hives. I break down in hives from stress. So I don't have a disease. Well, actually, I do have a disease. It's psoriasis, but this, am I okay? I'm okay. Someone just came in here earlier and, like, was making Katelyn, if you know Katelyn Nicole Davis is, they were making her sound like she was just wanting attention, which was what fueled me in the very beginning to even start talking at all about Katelyn, because I see this pattern of people like accusing other people of just wanting attention, whether they have an illness or they have depression or anxiety or like her, suicidal desires, and then they get labeled as an attention whore. And it's like that's just such an ugly, it's just stupid, but it's worse than stupid because it's harmful. She was in a trailer in the mirage of horse country. She was too young for a driver's license, and her best friend moved to Pennsylvania, so the internet was one of her only options. Exactly. Middle of horse country, okay. And you know, even if, though, this is the thing, even if she was in an 8-bedroom house in Beverly Hills, I mean, look at Elliot Rodger. Do you remember Elliot Rodger? Now, he wasn't a victim. He was not a victim. What he was a victim to was mental illness, okay? But he had everything you could have ever imagined. And he would live stream daily before he decided to go on a killing spree. But he had no friends. And his parents were always working 24/7. They didn't really raise him. He was kind of a product of daycare and video games, is what it sounded like from all the research I did. And he would try to reach out to people online, and he would play Warcraft 24/7, but there was really no actual connection. He needed a therapist. But anyway, I'm just trying to illustrate that it doesn't really matter what your upbringing is like in the end. It doesn't really, well, no, not upbringing. It doesn't really matter what, like if you're in a desolate area or what your income is like. What really matters is the attention that you're getting in your youth. Like, and by attention, I mean someone you can talk to, someone who's going to listen, someone who cares. I know you aren't a believer, says, but Katelyn's so old. I mean, I'm not a believer in religion, but I've talked about this. I do believe that consciousness, however so, I don't know, I do believe that it spirals out, if you will, into the atmosphere and into, it takes other forms of consciousness. Like it takes other forms of life. I think that one door closing is another door opening. I just don't believe in religion at all. And I never will believe in religion. But I don't think that, and I'm not just talking about our life form, I'm talking about all life forms. I see Katelyn from all walks of life come into the psych area. Economic status doesn't equate to happiness. Thank you. Exactly. In fact, I see, and that's why I like to pinpoint on her beauty, because she was teased all the time and made fun of by these jealous, evil girls who I guess were envious of her beauty. And you hear a lot of times, and it deserves to be talked about, but you usually hear about like the ugly kid or the kid with Down syndrome or the kid who's overweight. You usually hear about those people being bullied, but you don't really, it never really gets, attention is never put on especially the females, because females can be really evil when they're jealous. You never hear about the girls who get bullied severely, aggressively, vehemently bullied by jealous girls who are beautiful. You never hear about the beautiful girls getting bullied. And it doesn't matter how much attention you get from the guys. In the end, you're being called a whore at 12 by jealous girls. And that shaves away pieces of your soul. And it makes you question, am I a whore? Like, even if you've never done anything with a guy, Like, I can remember, well, no, I'm not going to talk about myself, but let's just say, yeah, I mean, economic status doesn't matter, appearance doesn't matter, blessings, gifts don't matter. What matters is, like I said, if you're getting any, you have to have a supply of unconditional love as a child in order to feel adequate and in order to really have a sense of identity and not have to have it and not question it 24/7. You're a bully. When you die, you are who you were before you were born. Whatever that is. Energy, I don't know. But we don't know what we were. We don't know. Would you be able to be with a man that has strong religious beliefs? Um, Probably not, because then that would mean that he believes, because most mainstream beliefs that are based on the books written by men, most of those beliefs imply that even good people, even amazing people, who just simply didn't, do the magic spell of saying that they believe in Jesus, that those people would be punished eternally. I find that to be kind of evil, to put it nicely. So I don't think I could be. My best friends are religious, so can be friends with those people? Yes. But would I want to be in a relationship and possibly procreate with somebody who thinks that way? No. But to me, most religious people, I think they'd want to be with other religious people. So, and that's fine. You were bullied for being autistic. I'm really sorry. I cannot even imagine. Is in my school, I don't ever remember in my grade school seeing an autistic kid, but well, my school, I was lucky because my grade school was pretty good about the bullying. It was middle school that was different. But I'm really sorry. What would they do? Why don't people just end their problems with punching? Well, violence is never the answer. I hear so many stories of mean girls. Yeah, mean girls, like girls from church who call you a whore even though you've never kissed a guy, but they're the ones going down in the back rows of theaters going down on guys, but you've never even kissed a guy, and they're calling you a whore, and they take shaving cream and write whore in your driveway when you're 12, and they pass around notes in the cafeteria that have your face on it in the ugliest way possible, and the entire cafeteria, including teachers, are laughing at you. That, yeah, mean girls. Me either. I respect that others have beliefs, but just don't push it down my throat. Yeah, exactly. Good people do good things. Bad people do bad things. To make good people do bad things, it usually takes religion. Sometimes, yeah, well, I would say it takes superstition, period, like any kind of superstition, because in their mind, they're rationalizing whatever evil they're doing. I mean, I'm sure atheists, it's not as common, but I mean, atheists who go on shooting sprees in their mind, they're somehow rationalizing what they're doing, even if they just have a psychotic urge, you know. When people tried to bully me, I just beat the bullies. They don't mess with you if you fight back in some way. But not everybody has a revengeful nature. Like Katelyn, her approach to me was the most civil and evolved. Her approach was, well, she was already so humble to begin with that it appeared like when she was getting bullied, she was blaming herself, which, I mean, in her situation, I'm not surprised that's what she would do. Middle school girls are the worst with bullying, yes, I know. Like when I look at my daughter, like, and she's just laughing and smiling and free and so resilient. She's only 7 now, but I start thinking like, I just hope she never loses that. The prior year when Katelyn was getting teased for her acne, she was just a butterfly in a cocoon. She became so beautiful on the outside to match the beauty on her inside. Yeah. I wonder if she talked a lot about how she loved her eyes, and I'm glad that she was aware of that. But I wonder, like, I wonder if she had any pride in herself in other ways. Like, I wonder if she was ever aware of just how special she was. Hi, Triple B, or BB Berha TV. Her pale skin, she liked. I'm glad she liked her pale skin. I didn't know she did, but she looks like a porcelain doll, so she had to know she was intelligent. I think that was a big problem though, was she felt no sense of connection because according to her biological dad, um, she was smarter than the people she lived with. And part of thriving in existence is feeling a sense of connection. That's why I come online to talk to people because I feel a sense of connection. Would you like to buy? I sell I no, thank you. I'm talking about somebody very special. Her name's Katelyn Nicole Davis. I don't know who you are, but no. I watched her death video and I wish I could have jumped. Who died? Her name is Katelyn, Katelyn, Nicole Davis. And well, you can Google her. I've talked a lot about her in this. She was 12 and she was very beautiful and when I say beautiful, I mean from the inside out. Very intelligent, and she live streamed her suicide. And this happened in December. I love how she said she asked God to be beautiful, but not as we think of beauty. I did. I like that too. That was really unique of her. She asked to be beautiful on the inside and to make others happy. Well, and she did. She, when I am feeling, when I am reacting to first world problems, I think of Katelyn. She was beautiful in every way. She was. Katelyn was a deep thinker. She was. I think I never saw like her artwork and stuff, but I would have liked to see her artwork because something tells me that she was a good artist. Because she loved music and she loved writing and she loved singing, and usually um, that kind of goes hand in hand with drawing. That prayer showed note unselfish she is. What does that even mean? Hey, I'm just gonna, y'all. Well, I'm ignoring what they're saying until they get like. Can you please tell me what happened? Katelyn Nicole Davis. Any updates on what's going on with her mom? I can't remember if you went over it. Her mom is not getting along right now with her grandmother, Debbie. I'm not sure why. Tammy got mad at Debbie for talking to me and for telling me all this information, not what I'm saying now, but all this additional information that I haven't shared with anyone. And she is like in cahoots right now with this man who lives in Europe who's sending death threats to everybody. Right now they're trying to compose videos about me to try to paint me in a bad light. He said that he's calling my local CPS to try to get my kids taken because Tammy's kids were taken. This is a man who's like in his, I think, 50s, and he's trying to have a relationship with Katelyn's mom, and apparently he sends her money every month, according to him. And that's their relationship. She's doing her own thing, according to from what everyone online. And I've shown a lot of compassion and forgiveness and tried to understand as much as I possibly could. I've even cried for her before. And it seems that her motives, it seems like her only desires before what happened to Katelyn and after, I'm not just talking about after, are drug-induced relaxation and money. That's really all. That's the image. That's the vibe I'm getting. Sounds like straight trash to me. Not, yeah. He's a liar. Oh, so he's not sending her money? Well, if that's the case, how come she hasn't come out and argued any of that? Because she has to be aware that he's sending us elaborate death threats, that he's threatening to get people's kids taken, that I have screenshots of him saying that Anthony only touched Katelyn once in the pool. That was it. That's what he said to online. And Tammy has to be aware of all this. I mean, she watches my videos. She goes to Debbie and gets mad when I talk about what Debbie has said and stuff. So, like, I know she's listening. She comments on my videos, but she won't talk to me directly. As a straight white man. Courtney, I don't have Facebook, so I can't see everything on the page, but thanks for it. He lies about everything. He paints a different picture to everyone. I know. So it's like, okay, so I'm just going to say this now. Tammy, I am sorry if you've seen this and I was wrong about everything I said. As a disclaimer, I could be wrong about everything I said about Tammy. Okay? But I still feel like she needs to say something to this Tony person. You know, if law enforcement saw that she was aware of everything he was saying and that she stood by it and didn't, you know, she could actually get in some trouble for that. Hi, F-O-O-X. Fuchs? Sounds like the way an Italian person would say fox. What does the Fuchs say? We all only know what we are told. I only know what I see. But I know what you mean. I know what you're saying. It's all just essentially hearsay, but like, $14 updates on Facebook all of a sudden. What the heck? Oh, thanks for the pretty moon pictures, Wendy. They're beautiful. They're very pretty. How things with the moving? We haven't moved yet. Because of all that was going on. We didn't want to take any risks. Plus, my son has such a good relationship with his social workers and therapists and school counselors and things like that. He's so established with them that I don't want to pull him away from that right now. So that had a lot to like. I just like woke up in the middle of the night and Tim was already at work, and I called him and I was like, "Hey, I don't think we should move." And it was because I was just thinking of pulling Ryder away from all that, and it just didn't seem right. I just couldn't do it. How are you? I'm okay. I'm a little shooken up from earlier, but how are you? We need more pictures of our beautiful Katelyn. Each picture is a treasure. I agree. You're right. There needs to be a gallery, a real life gallery. I feel like they should have done to the trailer what they did in Auschwitz. They should have turned it into a sort of to feel her, to grieve her, to relive her. Because the reason people can so grieve what happened in the Holocaust and stuff like that is because they can go there and they can watch movies about it, they can relive it, they can, you know, if I could just see some shoes that Katelyn wore in real life, like as weird and obsessive as that may sound, or to see what her little Ziploc bag for school that had her pencils and stuff in it, her folder, her doodles, you know, all of that would be an honor to better grieve her. What happened earlier? Someone came in here and they were trying to say that Katelyn's suicide was just for show. So it really, they wouldn't stop, and they were saying that it was just for show. And yeah. My hair, it's beautiful. Thank you. You see my roots. It's not natural. Have you ever tried or at least looked into CBD for its anti-anxiety effects? You know me, I'm super skeptical, but this shows so much. I got some and I took it once, but then I thought, if I really like it, then I'm gonna want it all the time. And so I gave it to my best friend Leah, and I didn't want to rely on something to feel. I'm getting better about my anxiety. Like now it's getting to where like I used to have panic attacks like almost once a week, but it was and I'm sorry, Tim, if you're listening, this is a fact. I'm not just saying this to be mean, but I would only have panic attacks when I would get back with Tim. And I don't know what the reason is. I don't know because even when everything would be fine, even if he was at work, it would be I would have this horrible panic attack and like but I'm starting to better control. Like I haven't had one now in like 3 months, I think, which is amazing for me. And a lot of it is because I think of my kids. Like I think of like, oh no, like what if like every time I go to the ER they like put down like well actually I do. I read the discharge summaries like that are on my online portal thing and I'm like they might think that I'm like crazy or something like because of the panic attacks. Like what I do is I imagine that I'm at the hospital surrounded by doctors who are checking my heart and stuff. Well, the thing is my panic attacks were more about my heart. Because I reached cardiac arrest in 2014, and then I had a heart operation because I've had a heart condition since the 5th grade, and um, ever since then I call it more of like a health anxiety because if my blood pressure would suddenly drop and my heart would palpitate, I would think I was gonna die again. And so like that was more really though the source of it. But now that if I imagine I'm in the doctor's office and I imagine that there's like a sweet nurse holding my hand saying, "Oh, everything's fine, your heart looks great," then I can calm down and then it's like, yeah, better. The home and the land were sold. Mm, already? Were they sold like, do you know what, like, is someone actually gonna live there or were they just sold? Like, someone's just gonna own it and like take and make it just land, or are they actually gonna live there? They know nothing about her. You speak Arabic? No, no, no. Do I speak Arabic? No, but I can talk like, I can say, um, I can talk like in accent, like maybe, no, 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 non-additive properties, DME. It works with the endocannabinoids. Oh, see, the thing is I know the benefits. I even know that like it has amazing health benefits and all that. I just I try to steer clear, like even with things that are innocent, essential. That is innocent, but like even with certain foods, like and certain, I never wanted. I almost have like this phobia of repetition. Like I have a phobia of routine. I've had it since I was little. My handwriting in a 10-minute period will not be the same at all. Like people are like, "Did you write that?" Like I don't know. I have a phobia against routine. So I would not want to take OCD. I don't know though. Isn't OCD the opposite? Isn't OCD the like a phobia of not doing routine things? Or is that a form of OCD? I don't know. One of the memories I have of my dad was him crouching down really low in his scrubs with his scratchy face saying, "Daddy has OCD and you're going to have OCD too, honey." Like so maybe it is generic, but he was probably drunk when he said that. So sold twice. Someone is going to build there. Oh, okay. Yeah, I get into the ER physical induced anxiety attacks. Those suck. The pool was torn down. I wonder how long till the trailer is removed. I don't understand why no journalist, because, okay, so I know a little bit of how journalism works, and I know that professional journalists, even if they are not assigned a case or a story, they can still research them and they can find out if they can, like, they can find a way to wiggle into a story and cover it. And I don't understand why no journalist didn't want to go and do a story on like what you spoke of, like with her trailer and like to learn about her. Like, because even with Kaylee Anthony, they went into that home in Orlando. How can I not remember the street name? But they went into the home. You saw Kaylee's nursery or her baby room, or at the time it was a toddler room. And, you know, I can still remember her favorite stuffed animals. I can remember the pictures on her wall. I can remember them saying Kaylee's favorite food to eat it was green beans. And you got to see her den, her mom liked Asian decor, I remember. And so and you saw I can remember her entire courtyard. Like you got to feel, you know, because when you can put yourself in the place that a person dwelled, that, you know, that's what, you know, when you're walking in a garden of flowers, you feel that you are not a flower, but you feel in one with nature. You know, if you're on a cliff, you feel one with nature. If you're in a forest, because you're in that habitat, like you're in that, and that is what really makes you appreciate and understand something or someone. And so I don't understand why they just sold that stuff, and no journalist came to really to make it permanent on paper in a picture. Her room and the hallway, the kitchen that she was seen in a lot. Several journalists are working on her story. That's good. I hope that they were able to go to the trailer. If you can calm yourself down right away from an anxiety attack yourself, that's awesome. If you can't, CBD. Yeah, I mean, and see, the thing is, it took practice. Like, it took about 2 months of me doing the same thing and showing myself, see, you're not going to die. And I would call up they're made for suicide hotlines, but you can also do it if you're having a panic attack. And sometimes the woman would sound frustrated. Like, she would be like, do you think you can, like, be fine now? Like, it's been 10 minutes, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'll be fine. But really, I wasn't feeling fine. I think they have a 10-minute limit. Like, looking back, that's what I think, because it's always at 10 minutes that they, like, cut me off and they're like, okay, are you going to be fine now? And I'm not going to die. Exactly. You are not, yeah. I have, because that, I think, I tell myself, oh, I picture myself as like 75, and I'm like, oh, there I am. See, I'm 75. I made it. Some want the trailer gone, but I will be sad because it's something tangible for us to see and remember. Exactly, tangible, yes. Yep, because that was where her presence was. That was where her existence was. That's where we met her. We met Katelyn there. You know, it was over camera, but that's where we met her. You know, like when people go on their anniversary, they go to the first place that they met again. Like whether it was at a movie theater or a restaurant or at someone's house or in a park, they go back to that place on their anniversary to relive it, to re-experience it, and because that's where they met. And so we all met Katelyn in that trailer. It's where we met her, and so that's makes it special. I suffered from panic attacks years ago, but I still suffer anxiety. Is it a Jew thing? I think it's a universal thing, unfortunately. They even say that other mammals, like certain, like dogs I've seen, have not necessarily a panic attack, because that's more mental, but they have similar physical symptoms. Hi, Will. Thanks for the applause. Again, I don't know what that entails, but thank you. Dogs suffer separation anxiety. I think that's what I have from my kids. I keep telling my son to find the stop button on his body so he'll stop growing, but he hasn't found it yet. If they had cremated her, as some in the family wanted, the trailer would have been the only place to visit. Yeah. But I don't really see, I mean, while, you know, a gravestone is a definitely, to me, any place where a person's name is engraved and there's a piece of them there, um, even though, you know, essentially it's decomposing flesh, like, ugh, like I can't, I don't like saying that. Even though that's the case, it still is, you know, that's not her home. That's not where she dwelled. That's not where she was alive. And it doesn't, to me, hold the same, it's not as like sacred as her home would have been to visit, because she doesn't, she never wanted to live. Other people put her body where it is now, but she did the walking and the talking and the thinking and the living in the trailer. Thankfully, we have a great, my kid who you've met is 13. He's getting bigger than me. I say the same. Stop getting big. Yeah, because it's like my son still asks me to read to him. We have this book that I used to read a lot as a kid. It's by the author is Japanese, and I can't say the name. It's like Giyu something. And the pages are huge, and it's one of those cozy books where it's like the kids all in the neighborhood, or it's like safe enough to where they can all play by themselves together, and they like go in a treehouse in the rain, and then they have a lemonade stand on the beach, and they play in the mud, and then they get home and they all clean up and they snuggle up together. It's like one of those cozy books, and my son loves it, and so does my daughter. My son is, you know, he's 10, so just in a couple years he's gonna be like pre-teenage, and he still asks me to read to him at bedtime, and I think like I can't imagine him not wanting to be read to just because he loves it so much. And so the thought of him not wanting to be read to is like heartbreaking. Thanks for becoming a fan. Mine keeps asking me to check for zombies upstairs. Mine keeps getting hair in places he didn't before. Yeah, right. My son has little mustache hairs, and his, well, that's it. But I mean, it's bittersweet to watch them grow. Like, obviously, I want him to grow up, but like, it's just, especially in this age of like internet, it's like, and I've talked about it before, I see the ugliness on the internet and just the exposure. I see it as a form of pollution. I see it as like litter for the brain. And parents just have to do a really good job of monitoring that and keeping it clean, cleaning out making sure that the brains aren't getting littered. Like, that's my fear. Like, Katelyn shouldn't have even known how to hang herself. I mean, I know that everybody knows like the concept, but she shouldn't have known a foolproof way. She shouldn't have known about this creepypasta suicide stuff. She shouldn't have known, you know, maybe if she was like 17 or 16, maybe 15, but not 12. She shouldn't have known about all that darkness and glamorization of suicide. That was mind pollution. And the more that litter builds up, it contaminates. The internet is not for kids. I agree. That's why, like, at school, when they browse the internet for certain things, it's like, oh my gosh, like, even the side, like, when I was working at my kid's other school, I was at the other school until January, and they would have like they would play these games during computer time. They could play these games, and it was on the school website. But even when they go to the games, like for instance the Lego games, there would be pop-ups on the side of like these big bosomed anime girls, and this was on G-rated websites. And I know that that alone isn't gonna like really be that detrimental to their health or anything, but it definitely would cause some curiosity. And like, I was the type of kid who would have thought about that a lot over and over, and like, not about her boobs and stuff, but I would have thought like I would have wanted to explore. Was the internet as a cesspool? She was all about social media because and I don't know, I'm not in her mind, but it appeared like, for one, she could garner an audience because she was interesting and smart and very beautiful, but mostly because I feel like that's where she felt she was being listened to. I mean, the only interactions she really had were those kids all day. So I mean, well, no, okay, I take that back. She interacted some with her mother, but according to her, it was very limited and it wasn't of the best quality. This is according to Katelyn. For me, the scare was the Cold War with Russia. Showing age. It was the nuclear threat. Seems like each generation has their looming threats. I agree. Like when people say like what's happening to the world? Oh my gosh, the world's getting so bad. Why is the world like this? I'm like, have y'all read history at all? Like honestly, relatively speaking, this is actually, it could be a lot worse. So, I mean, but I know two wrongs don't make a right, you know, when you're living in the moment. It's always going to seem the worst because it's the worst in your lifetime, you know? That is why she live streamed her last video. That was her outlet. She communicated most with the social media. Exactly. So she was waiting on us to save her, essentially. She was waiting on us, since we were the ones that she would reach out to save her. And if we didn't save her after however minutes before she finally did it, then to her that was a signal that truly no one cared. What's crazy is she didn't see how smart, loving, and I do think she was aware that she was smart. I mean, I don't see how she couldn't have been, or loving or beautiful. I just don't think it was enough because she needs, you know, we need just believe, like feel like people say like, oh well, you have to love yourself first. That's very true, but a lot of that self-love comes from being cared for by something else. I mean, all mammals in the world have to have a home. You know, if the bird's nest is falling apart and it's not holding the baby bird as it's supposed to be, and it's allowing all of this, you know, if the mama bird is rarely there, she's only keeping like one worm for all the baby worms in that nest. Just one worm, that's it. You know, like one can of soup. And I could be, okay, again, I don't know if that was what I saw in one live stream. Who knows? Maybe there was food other times, okay? But and if the baby bird's nest is allowing these intruders to come in and violate the baby birds, even when the baby bird is saying, you know, but this hawk, it keeps coming in here and it keeps poking at us and being inappropriate with us, and the mama bird allows it and flies away, or the mama bird doesn't do a good enough job of keeping that hawk out of the nest. Even little mammals like that have to have a home. They have to have reliability, and they have to feel like they have something taking care of them. Even a hi Costa Ramen, welcome. Even yeah, your kids getting used to mass shootings. I saw an article about that. They were saying that we're getting desensitized. I don't know. I think what it takes, sadly, is for people having to have a family member or a friend who was a victim in those situations, or they have to have lived near it, or they have to have experienced it themselves. Like I feel like there has to be a personal element there in order for people to truly feel that empathy and want change. Because I also think a big part of Katelyn impacting us was that we saw her final moments and we saw her weakest, we saw her moments of despair. Just imagine if we had never seen those moments of despair, if we had just seen pictures of her smiling with her family members. Like you usually see when somebody kills themselves, it'll just show the happy times and that's it. You'll just see some family photos. But because we saw her last moments, we literally saw her last breath. That's a big deal. There are even nurses in hospitals who don't actually see the last breath of their patients. We literally saw her last breaths. And so that was there's a personal element there for all of us who got to know Katelyn in that way. So that's why we have this yearning to spread suicide awareness and really point some fingers at people. But you know, that's kind of what it takes for people. They have to have that personal. How am I? I don't know. I don't know how I am. How are you? In New York, they closed down most state-funded psychiatric centers. That's one of many of the big problems of dealing with mental health. Why? Why did they do that? I don't understand. The state I'm in, Minnesota, we're so big on mental health that we even have a school that's going to be in our area that is just for Asperger's and autistic kids, which is amazing. Like, it's an actual school that's just going to be for them, so that, you know, they feel more. I don't want to say the word element for like the 1000th time, but so they feel more in their element. And I know that's not like depression type stuff, but we're also big on mental health too here, like with anxiety. But I think everybody with autism and Asperger's, anxiety is a huge common denominator. Working in hospital and traumas that come in, we try our hardest to bring them back, but sometimes we can't even after an hour. I commend you for what you do. There's no way I could have that profession at all. Funding, 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 money. Yeah, I think people underestimate the power of funding. Our nonprofit hospital here in Minnesota, Mayo, they did the heart operation on me for free, and they did it for research purposes because they couldn't find a trigger. Something about the electrical circuit in my heart that goes through that main, but I don't like talking about it because it grosses me out, but it was a unique thing they had never seen before ever, and they actually live streamed with the Mayo in Jacksonville, Florida, while they were operating on me because they needed to communicate back and forth for advice and suggestions, and like, it's because of the funding that they were able to do that. It was nice talking with you. Please keep us updated about Katelyn. Thank you. It was very nice talking to you too. Everything that you said about Katelyn was very insightful. Bye. Sorry, I have my head itches. Bye. Thank you, Nemo. I need to do my roots soon. I think I should do a YouTube video on how I do my roots since everybody likes it so much. In New York, funding is supplied for everything else. Psych, not. I don't understand that. Why is psychological, like, I just call it mental health. Why is that part of the health industry ignored when it comes to funding? I don't understand that, because most things that interfere with being able to work and stuff, or not being able to work, is not just limited to physical stuff. Like, if you're haunted all day by past traumas, you know, PTSD or OCD or depression, like, that's gonna interfere. And the only way to help that is obviously administering mental health experts. Honestly, doesn't make hospitals money. Because it doesn't make the hospitals money. Oh, ding, ding, ding. There you go. That's why. That's why. Because welcome to America. Survival of the economically fittest. An ocean of people, some people, they start to drown, they lose that raft, whether they have a sickness and they have to quit their job, or they just grew up in a hood and they have no money, and they're sinking and they're drowning, and there are other people on this raft, and they were just given this raft, and they're lucky that they were given this raft, and what do? Well, get your own raft. You're drowning? You should have found a way to get your own raft. Welcome to America. And if somebody else, if they let you on their raft or they give you a raft, then they are a disgusting person, apparently. Because in America, if you share, if you want to help somebody out, you're disgusting. I'm being sarcastic, by the way, obviously. So many people I know who don't have insurance with mental health or addiction left out to fend for themselves. Yep. And I don't understand that. I don't understand that. Because the brain is physical. Like, if you really want to get to the technicalities of it all, the brain is physical. And so it shouldn't just be like some imaginary thing just because you can't see, just because you got to look at a brain scan to actually see the reactions that are reflective of depression or anxiety or OCD or schizophrenia. Like, it's still there. Hi, Hashashin. Do I know what brain fog is? Yeah, but I feel like everybody can experiences it. I just feel like some people experience it a lot more severely than others. Hi, Zootluck. Do you still go to college? No, but I want to resume college. Candida? Yeah, I actually take these things called Candex. Well, I haven't in a while because they're kind of pricey, but they help with Candida. Why do you ask? Poorly? I'm a little confused by what you are asking. You seemed more relaxed swiveling in your chair. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm also checking other tabs too. So like when I like roll up close like this, I'm like looking at other stuff I have open. So I'm always tense. My OBGYN, when he was the one that was helping me, like he was the one that was seeing me when I was pregnant with Ryder, like when they had to lay us out, you know, on the whatever that thing is called, and tell us to spread our legs, like I never, like I keep my legs very tight, and he would actually get kind of angry because I like wouldn't open them, and he'd be like, you know, in the 20 plus years that I've worked as an OBGYN, I have never had a more tense patient than you. Yeah. And all the women who worked at the shelter would always be like, you know, I don't think I've ever seen you relax. I don't know. It's like I don't want to relax when or it's not that I don't want to relax, it's that like I just don't like relaxing. I don't know. It makes me feel, I don't know. I like relaxing. Well, even in a bathtub, I feel like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I call it the horizontal force. How do you prevent it from spreading? You into psychology? Yeah. My dad had his whole, you know, because this was before the internet, his whole bookshelf, before I got moved into the attic. I would explore it a lot as a kid, and he was an RN, but he had to have all these mental health books too. And so this was before, like I said, the internet, and so that was really the only source of me being able to look at all this. And I was about, I want to say, my son's age when I would explore these books. No, I was a little younger than him. I was like 8, and I loved noticing the patterns in certain people and my own behavior, and not so much putting labels, because I don't know, sometimes the psychiatry industry, I'm not talking about therapists. I'm not talking about psychologists, but psychiatrists, the ones who make a lot of money from throwing pills at you. I feel like just the psychology aspect of mental health industry and the mental health industry, is really interesting to learn about because, like I said, I don't like labels. I feel like there's this wide spectrum and we are all on it on certain places. But of course, I can't deny there are extremities of certain personalities and things like that. And it's just so cool to pick up on the patterns. And I mean, it's about us. It's about how we tick, I'm the kind of person that every time I get a certain food, like, I don't know how some people don't read every little ingredient on what they eat because I've done that ever since I was little. Like, even the preservatives, if they're like 6 syllables long and I don't know how to say it, I will Google it because I want to know what it does. I want to know why it's there. I want to know how it works. I want to know the derivatives of everything. So, of course, us, like the characters in this video game, I'm like the player. I want to know every feature of the game, of the players, of the settings. So that's another reason I love Google Earth too. Guess boredom introduced you to books better than lots of people. I wouldn't say boredom. I would say interest. It was interest, because there were tons of books that he had all kind of. My dad was obsessed with like The Hobbit, like the old Hobbit books, and he was very obsessed with like back then they called them freaks, the people who had like deformities and things, and he just had really interesting. He had those books where like you cross your eyes and like you'd cross your eyes and the picture would get dimensional, 3-dimensional, and God, lots of art stuff. He really liked Monet and Renoir and Escher. He loved Escher. You can see my bra. He liked Escher and all kinds of other funky artists and Salvador Dali. He had a tie that had the floating clocks. Anyway, and out of all of that, I was always drawn to the mental health books and I would like underline and stuff that reminded me of my mother, like parts that I was like, wow, this is my mother. And it just kind of helped me to understand my mother in a lot of ways when it came to covert narcissism, I want to call it. Seeing her as kind of a mental patient helped me better, I don't want to say tolerate her, but it helped me be more forgiving of what was going on. You have perceptive thinking. Religion when I was younger wasn't giving me answers I was seeking. Yeah. I don't think religion is really made to give answers. I think it's more made, well, a lot of religious people would argue and say it is, but I feel like in the end it gives comfort, which, is great. I think if that's what the person is getting from it. Some people, what they get from religion, especially in the Middle East, is a negative motivation or resentment or aggression. Like, okay, well, the infidels need to die, so. Yep, narcissism. Well, I would Google things like I don't want to start talking about it. I don't want to bash my mother, but there were so many things that I knew as a kid just weren't right, and it was like, and that's an understatement. And so like when in the book it was given all these examples of covert narcissism, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like frighteningly accurate. Hi, Dion Pouncil. And especially now as a mother of 2 children, I can tell you that I can confirm that certain things that she was doing and saying were not normal and were not acceptable as a mother. They were not. But I have forgiven her and I love her very much. And I feel like a lot of it is because of how she grew up. So not saying it was okay, but based on the little interaction we've had, and by little interaction, I mean like she'll send me one sentence saying like I love you, like once every 4 months. But that, hey, she's not picking on me and she's not like trying to bring me down. So that's good. She was an excellent 5-star mother before all the stuff happened with my dad, though, for sure. Like, amazing. I have these memories that I can never have taken away from me with my mother at that age. So I'm grateful for that because I know not everybody can say the same. Lack of empathy being one. Hi, Mr. X. I am doing pretty hungry, and it's raining and it's fall and it looks beautiful. I don't know if y'all can see. Let's see if the glare will go. Probably not. Anyway, it's beautiful outside. I took a lot of pictures and put it on Facebook. That's the only part of the movie. It's not religious fault. It's the people who, it's the so-called scholars. They publish their own viewpoint of how things. Well, yeah, I shouldn't have said Middle East. That was kind of generalizing a lot. But the majority of the Middle East, they do, and I know this for a fact, the majority, statistically speaking, they do believe in Islam, the religion, and although, one of the main, like the basis of it is accepting Allah, and Allah promoted very violent acts toward infidels who were non-believers, basically. And so if people are not acting on that, then they, even though they call themselves just moderates, they basically are not truly following Islam, because it actually instructs you to kill infidels. So, I mean, I own 2 Qurans, so it's not like I'm just talking out of my butt. But some of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life, like when I was at the women's shelter, there was a woman there, and she pulled me aside in the kitchen. It was a communal kitchen, and this was last year, and she said, "Here, you come here," and she was like, "You're very special. I see you really love your kids," and she was like, "I don't want you to make same mistake I make." She's like, I come here," like she was a refugee, and she was like, she's like, "I come here and escape my husband. I come here, and she's like, 10 years later, I come back because I gave husband another chance." She's like, "I don't want to see you waste your life." Like there was so much more to it, but she was pouring her heart out to me. She didn't want to see me make the same mistake she made. And she really, really believed in Allah and all that, but she didn't, it just depends on what kind of person you are. If you're a person who wants to make an excuse to go kill somebody, then you're going to use religion as that. I mean, and if you're not religious, you're going to find some other way. Like this Tony guy who threatens me all the time. He's just somebody who wants an excuse to go kill somebody. That's really all it is. And like some people are just born that way. Like Jeffrey Dahmer, when he would kill people, he would just flat out say it becomes obsessive and addictive, and some people, they get that kind of adrenaline rush and a high from taking another life. There's this power to them, and if they are hyper religious, they'll use their religion for that. If they, like Elliot Rodger, are hateful toward women because women pay him no attention, they're going to use that as an excuse. Like they will find an excuse. Tony is deranged. Yeah. It's crazy because I saw like the baby pictures of Tony and like the childhood pictures and stuff, and he was such a cute kid. Like he seems so normal on his regular page. Like everybody, it looks like I'm glitching. Am I glitching? Hi, Jamal. Are you French? Or do you say the D? Jamal? I have nothing against religion. You can pray to a rock if you wish. Just don't throw it at me. Yeah. Like I said, though, the only beef I have with religion, the main beef I have with religion, is how it is divisive. Like, that's why when I see that coexist thing, I'm just like, come on. Like, from a logical standpoint, how can you coexist when anybody who truly follows the scriptures are basically going to be divisive? It naturally promotes divisiveness, because there's going to be division when you think you're better than somebody else because you believe in something that automatically makes you better. Like, there's no denying that. So I don't like that aspect of it. And I feel like people should only be judged on their good acts, and religion is all about saying it doesn't matter how many good deeds or good acts you do. Actually, that is what matters. That's not me playing God by saying that. That's common sense. If you do good things, it helps. If you help people and you're a good person, then good. Like, that should never be, there should not be any but after that. Like, unless, you're doing it for some ulterior motive. Am I glitching? Because it shows that I'm glitching really bad. Am I glitching? Like, it's doing this thing where, like, I'm breaking into all these pieces. It breeds way too much separation and hatred to those who believe differently. Yeah. And I don't know how the people, like, can say it doesn't. I don't get it. Like, because it has no problem even implying all that throughout the whole holy books. So, like, nobody's blaming God. The difference is how the people take all the hateful things that are written in the Quran literally. It's why we have laws. Religion is something between the person and God. Our attitude or behavior come from our personality, not to religion. Not glitching here. Okay, good. I feel like religion is not something between a person and their God. I feel like it's between a person and it's their own conscience. But I know that people who follow religion won't agree, so that's fine. I sound like the fastest talker ever. I sound like a turtle. Well, turtles don't talk. But I sound like the pace of a turtle compared to a YouTuber named Trisha Paytas. I don't know if you ever watch her, but speaking of, she just made a song called "I Love Jesus." It sounded like Ariel the Little Mermaid. It was actually really cute. Should I convince you to not think this? Like, pull up a verse. I really, I don't want to dissect religion on my live stream. I'd really rather not. I think as adults, because if we're over 25, I feel like we have our minds pretty, well, mine's ever changing in terms of like what my theories could be about life and death. But when it comes to religion, if a person's over 25 and they accept that you have to believe one way to like get your reward after death, I'm sorry, but that's a certain kind of mentality, and I'm not going to argue with that mentality. Exactly, Courtney. Let's not debate. That's not, people were asking me earlier about that, and I answered, and I'm going to leave it at that. You can speak more about it if you would like. That's fine. But I'm not here to make you believe as I do. Please, if what you believe makes you happy and feel fulfilled. Am I still frozen? Am I frozen? Am I frozen? Am I frozen? Oh, are you saying like frozen from Let It Go? Or are you saying like, are you saying frozen like Elsa frozen? Well, Courtney said I'm frozen. Why don't you restart me then? Restart me. But Elsa had a big braid. And Elsa had blue eyes. Alright. Am I frozen? Like, I cannot tell. Going out and coming back in. Okay. I see you're about to laugh at my dog. Yeah, well, I read it, but I don't like saying I don't like saying F-A-R-T. Like, I'll say gassed. I mean, I say F-A-R-T sometimes, but I don't like saying it because, like, I don't know. There was this little boy named Jamie Bishop, and like it was 4th grade because it was when our classrooms were outside in these like portable classrooms. And he would always walk past me like when we'd switch classes, and he would be like, art, art. And like, I don't know, that's like what I always visualize when someone says fart. So like, I just don't like that word. I mean, it actually makes me feel like I'm gonna throw up. Like it makes me feel sick. Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not freezing. I'm gonna restart though, just in case. I think all boys are kind of like they like the poots, the bodily function jokes. I'm gonna restart, okay? All right, capiche?